Hey there! In this tutorial, I show you how to create a countdown timer using React. Countdown timers are great for adding urgency and engagement to your website or app. By the end of this video, you'll know how to make a countdown timer that you can customize and use in your own projects. Let's talk about the web stack. We are going to use React and CSS. React is a popular JavaScript library. It's a tool that helps people make cool and interactive websites. It makes it easier to create parts of websites that can be used over and over again. Like a countdown, you can build it once and reuse it as many times as you want. So it helps you build websites a lot faster, and it's a very valuable skill to have if you want to work as a web developer. So let's get started. To follow along with this tutorial, you'll need to have React.js installed and a project set up. If you watch my previous videos, you can use the React Playground repository that we used to build the Word Scramble game. I've included a link to the GitHub repository in the description below, where you can clone the project from the main branch and start working on it. I'll also be pushing the final code for this countdown timer to the countdown branch, so you can check it out there once you're done. So you can either set up your own React project or you can clone my repository. The choice is yours. Now let's get into it. The countdown design features a horizontal line running across the middle of each rectangle. The days, hours, minutes, and so. This line split each rectangle in half horizontally, creating a sense of balance and symmetry. Additionally, we also add this box shadow effect around each rectangle just to add depth and a sense of dimension to the countdown. The first thing that we are going to do is run the project. So yarn start depth. So as I mentioned, I'm going to build the countdown in the repository that I previously used for this word Scramble. Okay, we have our app running, and now let's just close this. I'm going to go to the app, and I'm going to hide this. I'm going to create a new component folder. So countdown. And here, countdown.js, and I'm also going to create a styles CSS sheet. Okay, in countdown, I'm going to create a component just like this, an arrow component. Yes, capital C, which I'm going to call from our app component. So countdown, and there you go, countdown. Okay, now let's start building our component. First, we are going to build the structure of the countdown. So we are going to need, I'm going to wrap this title in a H2. Now copy this. Now I need a div. The class name is going to be content. And then I'm going to need a div per rectangle, per div, per hour, and so on. So class name, okay. I'm just going to call it box. And then I'm going to need another div. And this is going to be class name value. And here I'm going to have a span with the label. So days, let's say here 30. Can also wrap this in a span. So 30 days, and I'm going to need a box per item, so hours, and then minutes, and then seconds. Okay, So let's just say here 10. And this is how it's looking like at the moment. Okay, so this is the structure that we need. And don't worry, we're going to refactor this code because as we can see, the divs are the same in each for each countdown. The only thing that it changes is the value and the label. But we are going to leave it like this for now. Let's import our style sheet. Import styles CSS. Okay, and let me also add here a class countdown just to wrap all of our styles. So now we can open our style sheet here, countdown. And the first thing that we want to do is, let's just come here. We want to give some styles to this content, so countdown.content. And I want this to be full width, so width 100%, then display flex, flex direction column, the row. Okay, yes, and I also want it to be central in the middle, and I want to have the margin as auto. And I want to have a gap between each element, so gap 30 pixels. Cool, okay. Now let's copy this, and now I'm going to add some styles for the box. So for the box, the width is calc 100% divided by 4. Okay, so it's 25%. Then display flex, flex direction column, align item center, and justify content center. Okay, height, let's say 200 pixels, and max width, I'm going to leave it as 150 pixels. And background, okay, let me just copy the right background now. Cool. I'm going to also add the styles for the H2. So H2 margin bottom 20 pixels. And font size, 50 pixels. Okay, and here we can say color white. We'll carry on adding more styles later on. For now, this is enough to start adding our logic with JavaScript. Let's go back to our component. To create the countdown timer, we need to first set our countdown target. So I'm going to create a variable here, countdown target, and I'm going to set up here my target date. For me, it's going to be new date. So this is a native JavaScript function that you can use. And here you specify the date that you want, 2023 in June, and the 31st in June. And now the time, you can specify the time by 11:59:59. Okay, this is our target date. So we need to create a function that is going to give us the remaining time between the current time between today and our target time. I'm going to call it get time left. And this is just going to be an arrow function that I'm placing outside because we don't need to have it in the component. It's not going to depend on anything that we are doing here, so we can just leave it outside. And first, So the first thing that we need to do is we need to get the total remaining time. And for that, we need to subtract the countdown target minus the current date. So new date, just like this. And then we need to get the days. We need to also get the hours, minutes. I'm just going to specify here everything that we need to get, and then we just do it. And seconds. So this is all that we need to get. I'm just going to say total time left. It's going to give us the total time left in milliseconds. So in JavaScript, when working with time, it's common to use milliseconds as the unit of measurement. So to calculate the time, we need to multiply the number of milliseconds in 1 second, so that is 1000, number of milliseconds in 1000 times 60, which is the number of seconds in 1 minute, by the number of minutes in 1 hour, 60. And we also need to multiply this by the number of hours in 1 day. So 1000, the number of milliseconds in 1 second, 60, the number of seconds in 1 minute, 60, the number of minutes in 1 hour, and 24, the number of hours in 1 day. So we multiply all of this, and we need to divide the total by the result of this multiplication. And this is going to give us the remaining days. But in order to get it in a correct format, we need to round down this to the nearest integer. So we can use the function math.floor. We just wrap all of this, and yeah, this is going to give us the remaining days. Now we want to get the hours remaining in the countdown after subtracting the number of days. So we are going to I'm just going to copy this structure and just remove this. So we need to multiply, in this case, 1000 times 60 times 60. Multiplying these values together is going to give us the number of milliseconds in 1 hour. And the result of this division is the remaining hours, but what we want is to get the remaining hours in the current day only. We can use the module operator to get the number of hours remaining in the current day. So this is giving us the number of hours remaining in the current day, in today. And it goes the same with the minutes and the seconds. So math floor, and then we need to divide this by 1000 times 60. And now we use here the module operator, 60. Okay, we wrap all of this in brackets. And seconds is the same. So math floor, total divided by 1000. And we use the module operator here to get the remaining seconds. So 60. And I'm missing here 1, and yes. Now we want to return these values in an object. So we could say return, and we could use the shorthand notation to return them just like this: days, hour, minutes, and seconds. And I'm just realizing that this total should be total time left, total time left. And we don't need to export this. We don't need to return it in the object, because these are the 4 values we are going to need for our UI component. So we save this. Now that we have this function created, we need to add 2 hooks. So let me come here. I'm just going to import them. One is going to be use state, and the other one use effect. So for the use state, what we need to do is we need to initiate this state with the result of this getTimeLeft function. Okay, so we could say get a const timeLeft set timeLeft. and use state. And the initial value of this state needs to be the result of this get time left. So we need to call this function here, just like this. Now let's implement the use effect hook. What we are going to do with use effect is set up a timer that will update this time left state every second. So for that, set interval, and I'm going to call this set time left function, which this will call the get time left. And I'm going to specify here that I want this time left state to be updated every second. So to this use effect, we don't need to pass any dependencies, so just empty array. So this means that this will only run once when the component mounts. And something quite important as well is that we need to add a cleanup function. We do that by adding the return like this. And so what we want to do here is clear the interval just to prevent any memory leak. Okay, so when we call this clear interval, we have to pass here which interval we want to clean. So I need to wrap all of this in a const. So const timer, let's just call it like this. And I can just pass it here. Okay, so we are setting up a set interval function, and then in the cleanup function, we are clearing it up. And we don't pass any dependencies. We save this, and if now we use this state time left, and we come here to the days, and we replace this 30 by time left dot days, we are seeing that it gets updated here. So we could do this time days, now hours, and minutes, and so on. But as I told you earlier, we should refactor this code just to make it a little bit cleaner and more and use less line. Okay, so what I want is to have a map, so have an array where I can map to this and print a box per element that we have in this time left. But this time left that we have here, this is an object, and we can only use maps with array. So to convert an object into an array, we can use object dot entries to get all the entries of it. And here I said time left, and let me wrap this in curly brackets. Yeah. Okay, so we are converting an object into an array. Okay, so element, and now I'm going to add return. I'm going to place this box here. Save it. I'm not going to need all of this, so let me just get rid of it. Okay, and I need to replace this time left days and the value here with what is coming from our object. So I'm just gonna create two variables here, label and value. Okay, so the label is the first element in our element array, and the value is the second element, so 0 and 1. And now I can replace here for label and update the value here in the span. I save this. Okay. Time left entries. I'm missing here an R. So let me just save this one, and we can see that we have 125 days, 4 hours, infinite minutes, and 19 seconds to our target date. Okay, let's see what is happening here. But before doing that, let me add a key here, and we should add that unique identifier. So I'm going to use the label. Yeah, the label. And let's see why infinite minutes. So let me just have a look. And I can see that here we have this bracket in the wrong position. So what this is doing is multiplying this, is doing this operation, and then dividing the total time left by the result of all of this. And this is wrong. What we want is to wrap all of this together, okay? So first we do the multiplication, then we divide the total time left by the result of this multiplication, and then we use the module operator. Okay, we save this, and we can see now the correct minutes, 56 minutes. Okay, so this is all the JavaScript that we need to create a countdown timer. So now we just need to add more CSS to make it look like the designs. For that, let's go back to styles. And here, let's say countdown.value. So let's define first the font size. So the font size is 30 pixels. Font weight 600. Okay, let's save it. Yep. And I'm going to add the background color here actually. So I'm just gonna copy this step here and display flex. Display flex. Justify content center. Align items center as well. Okay. Border radius, let's say 8 pixels. Width 100 pixels and height the same. Just save this, and I also need to add a before and after selectors. So before, just gonna define it here, and after. So I need the position to be relative. And I'm also going to add a box shadow. And I just have it here. Okay, it's looking good. And now for the before, I'm going to add the horizontal line. So content position absolute. Width is going to be 100%. The height 1 pixel. The set index 2. And the background color. And we also need to add a box shadow. So box shadow, just like this, and we can see here our line is showing up. Let me just make this bigger. I'm not sure if this is too light. Let me just do it here in the inspector with you. Gonna select. I can select here the before, and maybe just let's put it like this so it's more visible. I'm just gonna copy this and replace it here. Okay, so for the after, I need this, the content and the position as absolute. Then left is going to be -7 pixels. The width is only 10 pixels. The height 20 pixels. And the background color going to be this. It's kind of like a gray. And a box shadow. Let's just save this, and now let's make this responsive. So in a way that if I make the screen bigger, they become a little bit bigger. So for that, I'm going to add a media query. I might just do it here. So add media screen and minimum width 550 pixels. Okay, and here max width is going to be a little bit bigger, so 200 pixels, and the height is going to be 250 pixels. Okay. Let me just make this. And I'm gonna come to the value here. And I'm going to say font size is going to be bigger, way bigger. So 100 pixels. Height 200 pixels. And the width 200 pixels. Okay, it's not picking it up. If I put it inside, I think it's so with CSS, normal CSS, I cannot do that. So let me just move it outside, and I'm going to need this countdown value. Okay. So if we were using SAS, we could, but okay. And the same with this one. Just gonna add it here. This here. Okay, let's make the screen bigger. I think we can say here 790 pixels. And this is how it looks like. So this is how it will look in desktop, and this is how it looks in smaller devices. Maybe we could make it look slightly bigger. So yeah, let's do that. I'm just gonna come here and say maximum is going to be 200, so maximum of the box. So maybe we can have here 200. Oops, way too big, that's for sure. What am I doing here? Oh, I'm missing a 0. Yeah, maybe something like this. And now we need to add the label. So dot countdown dot label, and let's just add it here. Okay, at the moment I think we cannot see it. Yes, it's here, the label, but we cannot see it because we set the color to white here. So let me just cut this and only add it to the value. We can actually add it under the background color. Yeah, so now it's black. So in the countdown label, we need font size 20 pixel, font weight 100, letter spacing 4 pixels, and margin top 10 pixels. We save it, and here we have it. Okay, so as you can see, we have here our countdown working well. Of course, feel free to add anything, change the styles if you wish, change the colors, change the shapes, anything you want. And Let me just show it to you that if we change here the date, let's say for March, we save this and we update it. Now our countdown has changed, so 33, 4 hours, 42 minutes and 1 second. I hope you found this tutorial helpful in building your very own countdown timer with React.js. Remember, you can always customize the design and functionality to fit your specific needs and preferences. With CSS, you have the power and flexibility to create truly dynamic and eye-catching interfaces that showcase your creativity and skills. So go ahead and let your imagination run wild. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel for more React tutorials and other programming content. And don't forget to leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of the tutorial or if you have any questions. Also, be sure to stay tuned for my upcoming tutorial on how to build and deploy a multi-routing portfolio website with Next.js 13. So make sure to hit that notification bell to be the first to know when the tutorial drops. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.